You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Trend. The high tomorrow is 65, the high Thursday 57. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into a Tuesday, a rainy edition of Inside the Locker Room. Be careful out there. This raining hard this morning, so be careful out there as you travel throughout, headed to take kids to school or you're headed to work. 205-342-9904, as always, is the phone number if you'd like to get in on the show. The X account's at Locker Room 109, at Barry Sanderson, at Wimp Sanderson 1, and the email for our show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Download that app, that Tide 100.9 app. Put it right there on your smartphone, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. I want to thank Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern Wood for making this 7 o'clock hour possible. If you're going to build the fence, the deck, the pergola, the 5-star backyard, there's only one choice, and that would be Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you. Before we get started, I want to wish my mom a happy birthday. Today is her birthday. Obviously, she's been through some tough times, but we get up there tomorrow. I have one more game. We've had 6 games here in the last 9 days. We did win again last night, thank goodness, but I want to wish her a happy birthday. I know it's been tough there for her. She's probably not listening. She used to get up and listen every morning, but I'm sure that's difficult for her now. Good morning, Chase. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Good morning, Dad. How are you? Hello. All right, is he not there? Check him. All right, I'll tell you what, we'll just get right up here to the check him there, Chase. All right, get right to the Yellowwood hotline. We'll get Super Joe in. Good morning, Super Joe.
Hey, what's going on, partner? How you feeling, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Oh, man, everything all good, man. Here we done moved up there, I heard.
Yeah, well, tonight's the real poll that really matters. So we'll see where this committee puts the Alabama Crimson Tide. I imagine it'll probably be around 7, I would think.
Yeah, I would hope that'd be a great number to me. And I say, you know, all we got to do is keep the foot on the gas and got to handle Oklahoma, which I believe, and I'm sure we will, 99 out of 100.
You feel that good about it, huh?
Oh, I feel that good. We can't go. We don't go down there baloney and lean on the ropes. But we got everything at stake around here. Now, I don't know if we win, we beat Auburn, we'll beat them, but I don't know if they'll try and just put us center straight into the playoffs or we're going to go to the SEC championship. But I wouldn't mind, you know, missing the SEC championship, going straight on in the playoffs, give up the players time to rest.
Yeah, well.
But, you know, it is.
Yeah, I think you just let the chips fall where they may. If you get there, great. Looks like, to me, if everything goes the way it's supposed to, if all the favored teams wins, and then Alabama and Texas will be playing over in Atlanta for the SEC champion and get that first round bye. But you just got to take care of business. If you don't beat Oklahoma, nothing matters.
Right, because we got to make Oklahoma look like Joklahoma. Instead of saying Boomer sooner, we got to make them Doomer a lot sooner.
There you go, Super Joe. Then you got to take care of those Auburn Tigers too, right? You can't let them come in here and upset your season.
Oh yeah,
that'd be sickening, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'll be like, oh man, I tell you what, it would be very traumatizing to lose to Auburn right now. It was traumatizing to lose to Vanderbilt, and wasn't the best to lose to Tennessee. Tennessee is not a very often thing, but losing to Vanderbilt, that was just one of the most unexcusable losses. But the one I think bothered me worse than anything, you know, when we lost that kick 6 to Auburn. I mean, I was in a bad mood for 3 days.
Lord, Super Joe, let's don't bring that up. Yeah, okay, I won't do it. And my father, you know, he passed on 5 years ago. When we lost that 9-6 to LSU, that sickened him. Yeah, I'm sure.
That's sickened. He said they were just getting away with too much, and because that time I think O.J. Howard or whoever was, or Michael Williams, one of them caught that ball and they called it an interception, but that was a touchdown to me.
Yeah, Yeah.
You know, but and I said, shoot, but we got LSU, and he said LSU still for losing slow and ugly that day in the national championship, and I said, yeah, and I tell you what though, I got to say it like this, you know, by Coach Kalen DeBoer. Now, one thing I know is about him. He's a very friendly guy. One thing about it, he seems to be a lot more easier to approach than Coach Saban for some reason.
Yeah, he's got a different personality, and he's kind of a people person. He's very positive. Not real high strung. So he's two different guys there, but two very good football coaches.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you one thing I know about with Coach Saban. When it came down to autographs, I would always let Coach Saban come near me first.
Yeah.
I didn't run up to him because I was like, a woman and a kid can run up to Coach Saban. Now, what is he going to say? Get the hell out of my face? No. The press will jump on him. Okay, that's different. But now, see me, I'm a big 300-pound man. Run up to another man like that ain't good. See, let's just be realistic. But when he comes towards me, he said, "Where you want me to sign? Right here, take care of it. Is he right here? Okay, boom, roll tight, and let him, just shake his hand. He go right to the next, go to the next fan. Boom, I'm happy.
There you go. Thank you, Super Joe.
Oh yeah, but like I say, we're gonna conduct our business and roll tide, partner.
Thank you, sir. There's Super Joe, always positive about the Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, good morning, Dad. We dropped you there for a second. How are you this morning?
I'm here. Okay. Yeah, okay.
All right. Tonight, the College Football Committee will lay out their top 25. Obviously, as we get to these championship games, and that thing will shake around a little bit. I'm very interested to watch Colorado, see where they're ranked, but it won't matter. They'll probably have to win that Big 12, but there's a good chance they could play BYU that would put them in the college football play. It would be pretty kind of amazing story if Colorado goes from winning one game to people questioning the way that he did that. Dad, do you think that will? I'm afraid that may open up that portal even more. People look at it and say, well, look what Deion did. He went in there and completely cleaned house for 2 years, and he was able to turn it around. I don't know if presidents of universities would be okay with that, but it did work, I guess, at this point.
I thought that worked, but I also thought that it was a unique situation, something that had not happened. And I'm saying this tastefully, that a minority took over a program and ran it with a great backside, with a great past in pro football and college football. I think at Florida State, and I think that had a little to do with it. But the advertising, the University of Colorado, I've been out there. Scott coached out there. They couldn't raise enough. They couldn't raise that kind of money in a lifetime, and people have gone to it because it's gotten hot. They've really, turned it loose. And if they have, that part of that money is going to him, and I don't know how much he's giving and taking. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, the other game that Indiana takes on Ohio State, and Indiana is the darling of college football right now. Cignetti sitting here at 10-0, going to play 9-1. If Ohio State loses another game there, then that would obviously knock them out of the Big Ten championship, and you'd have Oregon, I guess, in Indiana that would play in that. But that, I don't know how far Ohio State would fall, but their two biggest games would have been losses to Oregon and Indiana. So there are some interesting contests this weekend. Ole Miss, Dad travels down to Florida. Your thoughts about that game? It's a elimination game, I'm sure, for Ole Miss. They lose that, they're done. I need Florida to win that for other reasons. That line is 10.5. Your thoughts about Ole Miss, Florida?
Moved up, and it was 9.5 yesterday, so it's gone to 10.5.
Yeah.
I think the best way for me to put it is I think Florida has a chance. The crowd is there. Ole Miss will beat you on a field goal if you're not careful, because they'll kick a bunch of them. But I think Florida has a chance in that particular game. I had him come close to picking a blue plate. Most of you know I lost last week. South Carolina. I think that's the one. That's one. Kentucky and Texas is no chance. The rest of them, Missouri, Mississippi State, maybe. Who cares? Alabama and Oklahoma 14. You got to be careful. I mean, you probably already talked about this. I'm sorry.
No, I
think the A&M Auburn game. Maybe Auburn is playing a little bit better because they beat somebody with a big score, but it can't do anything. The Texas A&M Auburn game can't do anything but hurt Texas A&M. It can't help them if they beat Auburn, but it'll hurt them if they lose to Auburn.
Well, yeah, I think you get this to the point now where you just got to win. You got to find out a way to win, get in and get out of there. But if I'm going to predict, I think Texas ends up winning at A&M it's Texas, Alabama over in Atlanta for the SEC championship would be my prediction.
And you like that?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think being an SEC champion means something. I hear Christian Miller talk about that SEC ring, man. That's a nice piece that he has there to be the SEC champion. I think you want to get there. And I had somebody ask me last night at my game, do you think if a team gets to the SEC championship and loses and that gives them their third loss, could that knock them out of the playoff? I don't think, in Alabama's case, I don't think so. With the strength of schedule and all that, if they went in to the championship and lost to Texas, I don't think it would knock them.
Did y'all win last night?
Yeah, we won last night.
Who'd y'all play?
Sipsey. So we got one more game tonight. As I was saying, I was wishing Mom a happy birthday. I was going to get up there tomorrow. It was like our 6th game in 9 days. So we need a day off. So, but anyway, we didn't. Those teams shot the fire out of the ball. They hit 10 threes again. We were right there on a lot of them, but they hit 10 threes.
You wasn't defending them then.
No, we weren't defending them very good. I guess not, but I thought we were there. But we defended pretty well the second half and ended up winning 62-51. All right, 2-minute truck. They're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth. Whether it's local, out of town, out of state, let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. 205-247-5050. It's 2 minute truck. Movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. The Northport City Council voted unanimously last night to enter into contracts awarding over $17 million to companies for the last major construction projects at the Signature River Run Sports Park. Site preparation is completed and construction will begin after the first of the year, with the first games being played this coming fall. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Heavy rain outside right now, so you're going to find some high water spots. Please use caution and reduce your speed. We do have a fender bender on Highway 69 northbound before Old Greensboro Road. This accident is on the right shoulder now, so it's on the way out of there.
To save lives, the one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
9 North in Northport, just before Carroll's Creek Baptist Church. Sponsored by Hicks Taxidermy, Mary's Travel Center, North River Outdoors, and Crimson Pride Hunting and Fishing.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
Pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood, making it 7 o'clock hour possible. You want to find a dealer close to you, go to the website, yellowwood.com, put the zip code in, and you can go find the product where you can build that 5-star backyard. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline and get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Please Good morning, Coach Wimp. I hope you're doing good, and please tell Miss Sanderson that I wish her a happy birthday. She doesn't know me from Adam's house yet, but it might make her feel good.
Yeah.
She's in a struggling times, son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm very sorry, but anyway, y'all, there's some good games this weekend. I agree with everything you're saying about Colorado. I think they're actually a pretty physical team.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty physical. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Shadur thinks that he feels like he can make every pass that's out there, and I haven't seen too many he can't make. He's a really good quarterback. He's going to be a great pro player, I believe. There's several games I think we got to keep our eyes on. Obviously, Alabama's got to be laser focused this weekend, and I think Coach DeBoer is focused. I feel really good about that part of his game. I think he's a focused kind of guy. You don't hear him talking about issues and NIL and this and that and collectives like Coach Saban used to do during the season. He's just a football coach, and I love it. But anyway, here's a game that I'm a little interested in. And Penn State at Minnesota. Minnesota, every now and then, can get up and upset somebody at home. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little chaos there. And I also wouldn't be surprised to see a little chaos over in Lee County, Alabama, with Auburn and Texas A&M.
Yeah, it's A&M. It's Auburn's one chance to kind of make a statement here. I think they're feeling good about themselves. Winning always helps everything. I can see a different little twinkle in Hugh Freeze's eye. I think they're going to play loose. They could knock off A&M for sure in that particular game. And I think the other interesting game, BYU is at Arizona State, and everybody said, well, BYU's out of it. No, they still have a chance to get in the Big 12 championship game there. Arizona State's actually favored in that game. In that Minnesota game you're talking about, the line's not crazy. Vegas saying 12, so 12's doable. And I'm not talking about beating the line. I'm talking about Minnesota winning that football game against Penn State. It'd be just like Penn State to lose here at the end and somehow fall out of the top 12. So it should be fun.
It sure should. I'll tell you, and also, Barry, what happens to Coach Kelly if Vanderbilt goes down there and beats them this weekend?
That I just don't. When you got to pay out $22 million, and they may even still be paying Ed Orgeron, I just don't think these people are going to be able to get rid of these coaches. Like they have been. That line is LSU's favored by 8. But I don't know. Does LSU quit? They may have quit. I'm not sure. Yeah,
they might have, and that's what we got to look for right there is that possibility, and the coaching firing is an issue now because it opens up the portal right there.
Yeah,
I don't think they fire him personally.
No, I don't either. I don't see it. It's too soon.
What can Army do with Notre Dame at Yankee Stadium?
I don't know, Dad. You give Army a chance against Notre Dame.
I haven't looked at any games. I apologize to you.
Oh no, that's fine.
I'm very bad radio host. I was going to try to study them as soon as I can, but I've got my hands full.
I would imagine Notre Dame takes care of business. I mean, it's a nice story, but
I agree.
The line's 14, and so I look for Notre Dame to.
We had 3 games last week where if you took the Arkansas people like that, you lost. Everybody covered. Everybody just covered it. I can't remember the LSU, Florida, but outside of that, everybody else covered.
Yeah, that's where Doug hit his little 3-0. He took a bunch of points over the weekend, and Arkansas didn't win, but they covered, and obviously Missouri covered with those points there in Columbia. So there was Georgia. Looked like people were burying Georgia in the first quarter. Had a guy text me. I said, that had ridden over to my game with me. I said, just relax. This is a 4-quarter game. All right, let this thing play out a little bit, and they end up covering.
Sure
did. I think it's at the Florida LSU game.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's all gambling.
Yeah.
Interesting night tonight. I hope Alabama can move up a little bit higher and get in there. But and I hope I don't eat my words about Coach DeBoer. But he just seems like the team is focused. Seems like he's focused. Do you agree?
I think he's. Dad, I want to get your comment. I think he's weathered the storm. There was a lot of negativity swirling, and then I think when they went out and played that well against LSU, he's kind of, calmed the Alabama fan a little bit. Now they control their own destiny. Of course, if they were to go to Oklahoma and lose, then everything would be in disarray again. But I think he's kind of calmed the storm a little bit, don't you guys?
Yeah, Barry asked me, and I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be tougher on people that he's signed and work hard to keep them. That is the key. Yeah. He has to, the guy that they rehired to keep him as the general manager. You can't be nice to him. You got to be darn sure that he's doing. You can be nice to him, but you got to be darn sure that who we got, we gonna keep. And that's one thing Nick Saban did. Nick Saban stayed on them personally after he got them. And that is an absolute big key. Not because you think you got them, and all of a sudden you ain't got them. That's the key.
Yeah, Ivan Taylor, they just flipped him. Kid from Florida that was a Michigan commit. He was a Notre Dame commit, now Michigan, and then they did just flip him, and so he will be. Hopefully, maybe he'll flip again. I don't know. These guys seem to be a lot of flipping going on right now, Philip.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I hate it. Yeah. I hope Alabama doesn't lose that Carroll kid to Colorado, but I'm worried about it.
Yeah, just to
stay on top of it and give him a little bit more money.
I just don't know how you. I mean, these guys all got them and their parents and their agents all got their hands out. The guys that are really good, they got it made coming in. If you're borderline, then no. But those guys that are really good, they got a lot of power right now in college football.
Be careful. Sure don't let Ryan Williams play too good.
That's already been done, so that's happened.
Okay, you think that's over then, huh?
No, I don't say it's over. I mean, somebody would be willing to pay him $3 million. It's a matter of, so if he walked in and said it's going to cost you $3.5 million to keep me, you going to give it to him?
But I'm hearing, I would hear Philip and all the Alabama fans say we got him locked. He's loading it here.
You hadn't heard me say that.
No,
I mean,
he just loved it here. He's scoring all them touchdowns. He loves it here. Next thing you know, it's like Barry said, somebody's offered $3 million.
Yeah, so if they walk in and say, I mean, we love it here too, but 3.2, we'll really love it. If not, then we're going to love it somewhere else. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do, Philip? You give it to him?
No.
But how many guys can you do that with, is what I'm saying.
Eventually there's a point of no return where you can't do it.
That's where Nick Saban says this model's not sustainable. And he's right. He's right about that.
He is. He sure is.
So
sure is.
All right, we'll kick it around the bar about where Alabama lands tonight. I think it'll be somewhere around 7 or 8 tonight. So we'll see.
Will do. See y'all.
Do what?
Thank you, Philip. What time's that thing tonight?
I think it's 6:30, Chase, normally. I don't know. We'll look that up and let you know. He gave me the thumbs up, 6:30 on ESPN. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get to Kevin Skarbinsky. Let's Tide 100.9 is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Heavy rain outside right now, so you're going to find some high water spots. Please use caution and reduce your speed. We do have a fender bender on Highway 69 northbound before Old Greensboro Road. This accident is on the right shoulder now, so it's on the way out of there.
It's the Tide Tailgate Show on 95.3 The Bear and Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230. Roll Tide.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with widespread rain today, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the high 69. The sky clearing tonight, the low 55. Tomorrow and Thursday, partially sunny both days with a cooling trend. The high tomorrow 65, the high Thursday 57. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
and pressure-treated pine from Great Southern Wood. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. All right, get to the Yellowwood Hotline. He writes for the Birmingham Lead. He's got the college football show on CBS 42, 6:30 on Saturdays. Joins us every Tuesday. Kevin Skarbinski. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm good, fellas. Good morning.
Kevin, I'm looking here at your Twitter, and I've been saying this for the last week or so. Yeah, you want to get to Atlanta. Yeah, you want to try to win the SEC championship. Are you kidding me? That SEC ring means something. And I really think if Alabama gets to Atlanta, obviously win, they're in the playoff. Lose, they're still in the playoff if they get there with their strength of schedule and their good wins. It helps recruiting. It probably helps NIL.
Commissioner's already said that, Barry.
Yeah, it probably helps NIL, which is important. Why would anybody, the rest, I guess that's part of it. But if you win, man, you get that bye. Although I would like to see a home game here. That's why I hope they go to 16 and the top 8 get a home game. But I think we're thinking along the same lines there, correct, Kevin?
Absolutely. I do not, for the life of me, understand the line of thinking that you are trying to angle your way into the playoff and with as little risk as possible, so you don't want to play for a conference championship. I cannot wrap my mind around that thought, that you don't want to compete, that you don't want to take the opportunity to earn your way in with no doubts, no opinions, no committee deciding your fate. You decide your fate. And anyone who's ever been a real competitor at any level in any sport wants that opportunity. If you're telling me that if I play one game and if I win that game, I'm in the playoff, you tell me when and where to show up and I'll be there.
Yeah.
That's what sports is about. If we lose that, then I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, but I'll flip it. Do we see a lot of times in baseball, the team that gets all the way and they win the championship, they burn so much pitching doing it. Basketball, the team that played 3 games in 3 days or 4 games in 4 days, and they get to the tournament and they go out early. The teams that were kind of resting sometimes play a little bit better. But we've never seen this in football, though, have we, Kevin?
No, this is it's a little disturbing, and to hear Lane Kiffin say that a number of coaches in the SEC are saying that behind the scenes. They're not saying that publicly, but they're saying behind the scenes they really don't want to play in that championship game if they can avoid it so they can be in the playoff. Look, I know the playoff has become the be-all and end-all of college football. As Nick Saban predicted it would be before it came into existence, or right about the time it came into existence. He was very wise about that. He saw exactly what was coming. And so, I get that, but if you're not guaranteed to get into the playoff unless you can win a conference championship, then go win the conference championship. And don't say you don't want to play in the conference championship. First of all, if you don't have that much, if you're a fan and you don't have confidence in your team that they can go to Atlanta and beat whomever they match up against, then you're not much of a fan. You're a little, it's the phrase Billy Napier used to say when he first got to Florida: "Scared money don't make money."
Yeah,
that's playing scared, and no champion plays scared. You can't play scared and win a championship because you're still going to have to win. Look, even if you get a bye, and look, it ends up either way. If you play in the conference championship game, you win it, you get a bye. So you don't have to play in that first round, and then you have to win 3 playoff games to win the national championship. So then you basically got 4 postseason games, counting the SEC championship game. If you don't go to Atlanta and you have to play in the first round, then you got to win 4 games, postseason games, to win the national championship. So, and one of them might be a road game. Wouldn't you rather not have to go on the road to Penn State or Indiana or Ohio State or somewhere in the Big Ten on December 20th or 21st, those are the dates of the first round, wouldn't you rather avoid that if you could? If you could do something, again, positive, active, take control of your own situation. That's what sports is. And I don't, like I said, I will never understand the other way of thinking.
Yeah. I think, though, as I look at this thing, Kevin, I think it's a little bit of a flawed system. For instance, Colorado and BYU could play in the Big 12, and one of them is going to be in the top 4. I mean, Clemson could get their way into the ACC championship. If they win it, they're in the top 4. I think those teams should make the playoff, but I think once you get to 12, then you seed it 1 through 12 and let the best 4 teams get a bye. Sometimes the NCAA tournament, you seed a team wrong, boy, you really put another team at a disadvantage, and that's what's going to happen with this seeding process.
I am flabbergasted thinking about, now that we're in the heart of it, now that we're seeing it play out, I am just amazed that the SEC and the Big Ten agreed to this format that allows the top 4 conference champions, regardless of record, regardless of ranking, to be to get an automatic top 4. The top 4 conference champions to get a top 4 seed. That just blows my mind, because all we've heard in the last year is the Big Ten and the SEC talking about the playoff structure in 2026 and beyond, and possibly demanding this and demanding that, demanding 4 automatic spots, whatever. What they should have demanded in the first place, because they had the power to do so, was exactly what you just suggested. Once you pick the 12 teams, you win. If you win those conferences, yes, you should be in the playoff. Doesn't mean you should be a top 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah.
That I can't believe that the SEC agreed to that. In hindsight, of course, it's hindsight now, but this really wasn't that hard to foresee, that there would be at least 2 or 3 or 4 SEC teams in contention for playoff bids that were all, might finish 11-1, 10-2. It's going to be really hard to ever go undefeated in the SEC again, the way this is structured now with this many teams. But why would you want? Because you're giving your league a disadvantage. And again, based on last week, Ole Miss would have had to go on the road. Alabama would have had to go on the road. To Big Ten teams in December, where it might be snowing, it might be 15 degrees, you might not be able to feel your fingers, or the wind may be whipping your face like somebody is slapping you. I grew up in Pennsylvania. There can be some really nasty conditions at that time of year that can have a material effect on the outcome of a football game. And those guys are used to that. The team you're going to play, in addition to having home field advantage and the home crowd advantage, they're going to be more accustomed to those elements. You're not. So that's a huge disadvantage.
Yeah. That.
Is the 12-team playoffs just a preliminary look to see how things go before they go to 16?
It is a stopgap. This year and next year, it's a small sample size. They'll see how it plays out, and that would be what we just discussed, Wimp, I think will be the first thing to go from the SEC. And I don't know if the Big Ten is much, but certainly the SEC is going to lobby against the way its seeding is taking place now. They're going to want it in rank order. Put the best teams at the top. They do deserve a bye if there's a bye available.
On another show, I had heard with it that the commissioner came on and tried to clarify some of the stuff, and he said, I'm not quoting him, but I think he said, they talk about the loser of the championship game not going. That's not going to happen. So, I
don't know if he said that or not. We'll see. We'll see if it plays out. Now, certainly it has happened in the 14 playoff. It did happen. It happened last year to Georgia. And Georgia was undefeated going to Atlanta, if everyone remembers.
Well, yeah.
They're the two-time defense. If you again, we've got more slots now, but more at-large bids. But, Georgia was undefeated. They were the two-time defending champion. They went to Atlanta. They played a very good Alabama team. They lost by a field goal and did not get in the top four, did not make the playoff. Yeah. So it has happened where the SEC championship game loser does not make the playoff. Happened to Auburn in 2017, but they already had two losses when they lost. They had beaten Georgia and Alabama in the regular season by double digits. They destroyed Georgia when Georgia was number one. Then they beat Alabama when Alabama was number one. And then they go to Atlanta. Kerryon Johnson was hurt. Their offense was a shadow of what it had been. And they got beat by 3 touchdowns by Georgia. But that was Auburn's third loss. So that was understandable. They were not going to make the playoff after losing the SEC championship game. But now with 12 teams, you would think that wouldn't happen. But you can't guarantee it. And if one of these SEC teams right now, all these teams that with 2 losses, or if Texas loses to Texas A&M and they all finish 10-2 before going to, and somebody goes to Atlanta and then that team's going to finish, the loser's going to finish 10-3. If that team gets left out of the playoff, this is going to look a whole lot different 2 years. It's going to look a whole lot different 2 years from now anyway. They're probably going to expand the field. But it's definitely going to look a whole lot different if a 10-3 SEC team gets left out because it went to Atlanta, because it sustained that third loss.
Stink above stinks if that happens. You talk about good radio. We'll have some good radio.
You know what I think?
Well,
go ahead, finish it.
Here's something, and the real problem here is, I don't know how you do it, and it may be something that's almost impossible to achieve a more balanced schedule, because it's hard to say who's going to be, a championship contender year to year. I mean, Georgia, Alabama, generally speaking, are going to be in contention. Tennessee's been up and down. Ole Miss has certainly gotten much better. This will be most likely will be the third time in the last 4 years they've won 10 or more games. So they become a contender. Texas, you expect to be a contender. Texas A&M's been a surprise this year. So they have got to do something about the unbalanced SEC schedule, because what Georgia has faced compared to what Texas has not faced is simply, there's such a disparity there. And forget about Indiana and its schedule. The SEC has its own issues with an unbalanced schedule, and somehow they have got to figure out a way to make that more balanced. Maybe at some point we have to do what the NFL does, and you do the schedules only year by year, and you try to put the best teams against the best teams. That you figure, teams generally don't go do what Auburn did, go 3-9 in 2012 and then win the SEC the next year in 2013. That generally doesn't happen.
Keeps you confused, Kevin.
Well, yeah, I know you can rebuild more quickly, but you can't completely rebuild in a year.
Also fall too.
Yeah.
But also, look, if Texas A&M played Georgia's schedule, Texas A&M's not sitting there with the record they have.
I'm not arguing with you about this year. I'm just saying that transfer portal makes it difficult for you to pick in advance.
Yeah, that's why I think we may shorten the window to setting the schedules to make it as balanced as possible.
Yeah, Georgia's had a break in the previous years, but this year they certainly did not. I think we're seeing a lot of flips here in recruiting, Kevin.
Yes.
I think with the format the way we have it now, they got to change recruiting, because if you have all this time now, people are going in, they're getting more money. If a guy wants to sign, you got to be able to sign him anytime. Have no dates. Let him sign. So if he agrees to this, they sign, and that's bound for a year. You're bound for a year at those numbers. We can't have bidding wars now. So they should be able to, if the guy wants to sign today and he wants to sign with Alabama, he's comfortable with what they tell him he's going to get. I think that way the coaches could squeeze these players a little bit and get it to where these numbers aren't outrageous. And then I think you ought to have to re-sign everybody on your team. So your current roster, when the semester ends, you got 1 week to sit down with those guys or whatever and agree to whatever you're going to give them. Hey, some guys probably worried he's going to be cut. And he'll just take just his scholarship. Some guys like Ryan Williams are going to make them re-sign again every year. Your thoughts about that? Why wait? If the guy wants to sign without that will take away all these flips. These people will go ahead and sign and be done with it.
Well, I like I like that idea of do away with the artificial calendar.
Yes.
Because there are so many conflicts with the calendar that, look, high school, if I'm a high school coach, I like the idea of, I've advocated for a summer signing period before your senior high school season starts, that if you know where you want to go, then before you play your senior year in some, maybe first week of August, whatever, I'm just throwing out an arbitrary time, that you could go ahead and sign. That way you can focus on your senior season. You don't have to worry about all these visits. Some of these guys, virtually every weekend, they play a game on Friday night, and on Saturday they're at an SEC game, a Big Ten game. They're at a college game. And so that obviously takes away from high school football. You should be able to focus on your high school senior season while you're playing it. So I've liked the idea, and your suggestion goes along with that. If I know in August, and you have to set a start date, obviously, maybe August 1st of your senior year of high school, then you can go ahead and sign. And so I like that aspect of it. I don't know. Yeah, you're suggesting 1-year contracts.
Yeah.
Everybody's on a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
Which is almost where we are, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much with the transfer portal. You pretty much you're not guaranteed to have a guy for more than 1 year. And even in some cases, you're not guaranteed to have him for the whole year because they're opting out for whatever reason during the season, which is, again, so abhorrent and so anti-competition. What are we doing here again? So I don't know if that, but look, there is an inherent problem with the calendar. It's absolutely absurd that that the transfer portal is open before the playoff starts. So if you're a playoff team, now you have to worry. You have to worry about that. You have to worry about preparing for the playoff. There's the signing day. There's the high school signing day. There's the transfer portal, all before the season is over. But they have to do that because you have to, when schools start their spring semesters, you can't now that the season is not going to end until January 20th. Think about that. The national championship game this year is January 20th. So you can't wait till after the season because semesters have already started. And for the moment anyway, education is still tied to college football. So, you're not going to be able to enroll in February in a different school. So you can't wait till after the season. I don't look, a lot of smart minds are trying to figure this out, but there's a real problem there just with the basic calendar, and pushing the season back deep into January just makes it worse.
Yeah, baseball's kind of been going through this. At the end of the year, those guys get called in because they've been spreading that 11.7 out over 32 guys, and some guys keep what they had. Some guys get a little bit more, and that's kind of what you would have here in college football and basketball. You bring those guys in. Mark Sears, you were great. You're going to get the full scholarship plus $750,000. Sign right here. That's what we've come to.
Now the schools have
to. That's what we've come to.
The good thing is, and on the one hand, it's a good thing because schools now will be paying the players directly, so they have more control over this. You still will have NIL, and those opportunities will still be available to certain players, but the schools, allegedly starting next year, the next academic year, they will be paying players directly. So that gives the school more control, which is putting the control of recruiting in so much recruiting power in the hands of boosters and collectives and local business people. That was a bad idea from the start. The school, if you do it through the schools primarily with these salary caps that they're going to have, $20 million or so for each school for all sports, then at least maybe we can find some kind of system that accommodates everybody's needs as best as possible, and we can avoid some of this absolute chaos that we're experiencing right now.
Your thoughts about Auburn, Texas A&M? That line's only 2.5. They got to win. Auburn did down there. Hugh Freeze looked kind of like very relieved, to be quite honest with you. Just your thoughts. Can they knock off? I mean, I know they can. Will they knock off Texas A&M this weekend?
Again, Texas A&M is not a great football team.
Yeah,
they're a good football team. They're a better football team, I think, than a lot of people expected. Mike Elko's done a really good job in his first season there, but I'm not I'll have to be honest, guys. Someone's going to have to explain to me, when you look at this Auburn football team, and we have 10 games worth of evidence. They're 4-6. They're 1-5 in the SEC. And someone's going to have to explain to me all this confidence that outsiders seem to have, or some outsiders seem to have, in this Auburn football team's ability to win this game, or win any game against a quality opponent. Because they haven't shown the ability to do that. They've shown the ability to play close games against, so-so opponents. But who have they beaten of any caliber since Hugh Freeze has been there? When has Peyton Thorne demonstrated the ability to make a game-winning play in the fourth quarter? Or the offense to get in the red zone in the last 5 or 10 minutes and punch the ball in the end zone when you have to do it? Or the defense, which has been fairly solid, when has it demonstrated that it cannot give up a 10-play, 85-yard drive in the fourth quarter like they did against Missouri and Vanderbilt? I know past performance is not necessarily a guarantee of future performance, but have we not seen enough evidence to know that this is calling this team mediocre is a compliment at best? They're just not a good football team. And I know they've done some good things. I know they've got some talent. I know they've got young talent. But they still have the same coaching staff. The same people calling plays are the same, calling plays Saturday are the same people that have been calling plays for, at least all year this year with this coaching staff. So I just don't see it. Now, it's not, of course it's possible they can beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M is not Texas. Texas A&M is not Georgia. It's not Alabama. It's a quality football team, but it's not a great football team. But I don't know. I just don't see it, guys. And look, they could win. It wouldn't shock me if Auburn won. But if it was a close game in the fourth quarter and they found a way to win, that would surprise me because they haven't done that in 2 years under Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's happening here, because I talked to John, some AD, he's from Tuscaloosa, is that they've got to have something to rally around. Auburn does, and they're rallying around the people they have signed. Whether that's right or wrong, or none of the above, that's what they're doing. They're rallying around. We're fixing to get better. Now that that may whatever, but may not happen. But that's what they're doing, and I'm not so sure it's. If they had gone out and gotten the quarterback that Arkansas got, when Arkansas bought him, then they'd been in good shape, better shape. But they did.
Well, one thing to keep
you got to buy a skilled position player. You got to.
Well, you got to buy a quarterback, and they're going to have to buy one in the portal this year.
Player, that's right.
Yeah, the most important skill position player, and keep in mind that Hugh Freeze, A, is the coach who brought in Peyton Thorne in the first place, and B, is the coach who stuck with Peyton Thorne for a second season.
That's right.
After what we saw last year.
That's the key right there. We're good with what we've got. That's not true.
So tell me why anyone should have confidence in Hugh Freeze to go into the portal and land whoever one of the big fish that will be in the portal at the quarterback position this time around, where is your confidence coming from that he will be able to evaluate and then recruit and sign one of the better guys in the portal at that position?
John Cohen says that they lost a lot, and I'm not quoting John Cohen correctly. Barry can correct me. They lost so many more players to the transfer portal with a bad coach that people don't realize it. They ran off the best offensive coordinator in the country of football right now. I don't care where he is. Is at Georgia. Go ahead.
Oh, there's some fun. There are some good stories about the last meeting between Mike Bobo and Brian Harsin.
What a job he does.
Yes, but that was if you can recreate that scene when basically Bobo had some choice words for Brian Harsin, and Harsin had no choice really but to fire him because Bobo told him what he could do with his approach to the offense. Because Bobo basically Bobo told him, look, you got to let me. If I'm going to run the offense, I got to run the offense. We can't have two different philosophies here. We can't have Yeah. And he and Harsin said, "I'm the head coach. I'm going to do it." And then Bobo told him what he could do with his ideas, and Harsin basically fired him. So anyway, I just don't see look, guys. I don't see the confidence in Hugh Freeze. I certainly don't have it because I'm basing my observations and my conclusions on evidence. And even if Auburn is better next year, do people not realize there are 16 teams in the SEC? Auburn is one of the bottom 4 teams in the league. So if they finish 10th, they'll be better. If they finish 8th, they'll be better. There's a long way from where Auburn is to where Alabama and Georgia are. Long way.
I thought for arguing with you over the years that besides Florida, of course, kids at Florida, that your favorite team was Auburn.
Is it? Kevin, is it?
That's ask Eddie. No, look, I would say ask any Auburn fan. Ask any Auburn fan if they think my favorite team is Auburn.
You do sound kind of frustrated about the direction of Auburn, like it's personal.
When I fought with him all the time and called him at 8 in the morning, I could tell he was an Auburn fan.
Yeah, it sounds a little personal right now, Kevin.
I get passionate like this about Alabama, about UAB, about Stanford, about the teams in the state because look. Oh my gosh, have you not read anything or heard anything I've said about Trent Dilfer or Mark Ingram or that program? Yeah. My affinity for Bill Clark and what he accomplished there under ridiculously difficult circumstances for him to do what he did. And boy, it sounds like he's ready to get back on the field. That would be cool to see him coaching again.
Close to it.
He's one of the best.
Dad was my manager.
All right, Chase,
yes,
give me the wrap-up sign about 5 minutes ago. All right, tell everybody where they can find you, Kevin.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter /X at Kevin Skarbinski. Keep up with my 2 columns a week in the Birmingham Lead, our Saturday College Football Saturday show with Scott Griffin and me on CBS 42 at 6:30. Maybe next season we can get that in a better time slot so we can talk about all the games that day. But check it out now. We do have a lot of fun.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
We'll get to this top of the hour break. We want to thank Yellowwood. It made this 7 o'clock hour possible. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Listen, Tide 100.9, 1230 AM, WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Mimosa Heights issues on Highway 69 southbound after Mimosa Park Road. This is right here at 65th Street, but you do have a fender bender sitting on the shoulder now, and we've also got some very wet weather, so it's creating havoc for you. Please reduce your speed. And 2059 eastbound to Skyland Boulevard, you also have an accident which is sitting on the right shoulder, and there's some heavy rain in that specific area as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles,
Here's Steve DeSager.
The Dallas Cowboys have now lost 5 straight games. Lost Monday night at home to Houston 34-10. It was 17-10 at the half. Joe Mixon, 3 touchdown runs, 109 yards rushing. Cowboys 0-5 at home this season. The Giants starting quarterback is now Tommy DeVito with Drew Lock as his backup. The National League Rookie of the Year is Pirates pitcher Paul Skeens. The AL Rookie of the Year, Yankees pitcher Luis Hill. U.S. men's soccer defeated Jamaica in St. Louis 4-2. To the NBA, New York sent Washington to a 9th straight loss, 134-106. Toronto ended a 7-game losing streak, beating Indiana 130-119. R.J. Barrett scored 39 points. Milwaukee edged Houston 101-100 on a game-winning layup from
.com or Town Square Media Tuscaloosa radio websites. Fill out the Advertise Here form. Put the power of Town Square Media to work for your business.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with widespread rain today, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the high 69. The sky clearing tonight, the low 55. Tomorrow and Thursday, partially sunny both days with a cooling trend. The high tomorrow 65, the high Thursday 57. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Phone lines are open 205-342-9904. Doug was not with us yesterday, so he'll join us here in about 7 or 8 minutes. We want to thank Andrew Kniffer, Allstate Insurance. Andrew's my agent. Let Andrew become yours. He's out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Give he and the staff a call, 205-722-9201. You'll be in good hands with Allstate and Andrew Kniffer Insurance right there. Once again, 205-722-9201. We have an app message from Dothan from Joe. Says, so we're getting lectures on being a competitor. And he was talking about Kevin, talking about, yes, Alabama wants to go to Atlanta. He called him Kevin Soy Boy Scarnburner. Laugh out loud. I love Barry's optimism about the committee. I think you're making a huge assumption thinking the committee would still take us with 3 losses. I don't know if they would take every team with 3 losses, but I think if Alabama went to the playoff and lost to Texas, and that's their 3rd loss with their resume, that's not going to knock them out. I just don't see that. Now, for somebody else that doesn't have anything on their resume, then that could possibly happen. Dad, do you see that? If Alabama and Texas play and Alabama lost, I wouldn't see them taking it because Alabama's probably going to be, because they would have won all their games, they'll probably be around 6 at that point. So they're not going to go from 6 to out if they lose the SEC championship game.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Alabama's going to. The only thing I would say, go overboard. If it's a 42-0 game, then there might be a look at it. Let me tell you something else, Barry. When the head coach at Texas has a 3-touchdown lead, he ain't going to try to kill Alabama because he owes it to Nick Saban. Now, you think that's crazy, but he'll back them off without ever saying a word. He'll get it if he gets him a 3-touchdown lead, or a 4-touchdown lead, 28-3 or something. He ain't gonna try to smother him. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think we've got the guy on Alabama's side that's coaching the other team.
Have you been surprised? And I think he's handled it perfectly, so this is not a criticism. But Nick Saban was in Athens, Georgia. He took that private plane back, and he was in his box at the Mercer game. Like, he has been at – I didn't think he'd go to any of the games here, except for maybe when they honored him with the field. I think he's been at, like, every game here. Have you been surprised at how much he's been around? I mean, he's been very outspoken that Alabama's his team, and he says that on ESPN. He does a great job on TV. I think he's enjoying it. I think everybody's enjoying him, but he's not hiding his allegiance to Alabama. He's come to every game. Well, I didn't think he'd go to any of them.
Well, what happened there, Barry? Not what happened there. I'm not trying to tell you anything. Is that his agent and himself set down the rules. If you want me real bad, let's see what the money is. They told him in advance. But I have to get back. I have to get back for the Alabama games, regardless of where we are, from what I can understand. That in his contract, that he had it. The best way for me to say this is he had it the way he wanted it. So without me trying to go into every little thing he did, he had it the way he wanted.
So is Alabama flying him back after game day, or is ESPN flying him back?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. Alabama's still paying him, and they're still paying him. I don't know to what extent. He's still got Nick's kids. They're down out there where a place that I know. He's taken the money that we gave him for Jimmy Rain, the money that he's getting where he's speaking at Faulkner. I don't know what kind of money he got there, but the money that he got, he is putting it in Nick's kids still. So, to me, he hadn't really. He's cut his ties, but he hadn't cut his ties. And I think, did I expect him to be back for Alabama game? I had no idea. I didn't know. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, and I don't think he's been a problem. Nobody's comparing. I don't think it's been. I think he's handled it the way.
Coach's office is right next. I think it may be right next to him.
Come out in the stadium.
I think.
I mean, obviously he has one.
Somebody is. I forget who it is. Somebody called me the other day and said that so-and-so is right next to him. And I got so much going on, I can't remember what to say it. I'm sorry.
I know he's enjoying playing golf. I know he plays golf out in Indian Hills a lot and plays with some of my buddies out there. And they say he's so competitive when he plays. Yeah. And I said, how good is he? I said, he shoots mid-70s.
Yeah, he's a good player. I thought he'd be like a mid-80 guy. He didn't get to go this year because of Mom, but I've been with him a lot. He loves to gamble.
Yeah, but those guys say though he'll win. They'll say, "I like you owing me."
No, they'll come by. They would come by and say, "You won $50." I watched them, and they just laid $50 on the table and hand it to him. He'd take it.
This guy said, he says, "I like you owing me." So anyway.
Well, he's changed his tune now.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, but he makes good bets on the first tee. I think. He's getting so many shots aside, and then he's shooting in the mid-70s. He don't need to be getting no shots. Tell him no shots. Yeah, come on, guys. All right, Tuscaloosa Toyota. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. I'm looking at that Camry right now. Man, that thing is beautiful. It's 2025, a 3.9 APR there for the first 36 months. Those RAV4s are beautiful. The same deals, the same terms on those as well. That Highlander, I saw the Grand Highlander yesterday, 5.99 APR for 72 months. There's a lot of options out there at Tuscaloosa Toyota. We'll talk to Justin tomorrow about all the great deals, but swing by Skyland Boulevard, go to the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com, and tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. Listen, Tide 100.9 is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Wet streets making it busy out there. On Highway 69 southbound after Mimosa Park Road, watch for an accident on the shoulder. And we got delays on 2059 east and westbound at Skyland Boulevard. Now the eastbound lane, you got the right shoulder blocked, and the westbound lane, the left.
Thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud.
Bressa is the place to be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with widespread rain today, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the high 69. The sky clearing tonight, the low 55. Tomorrow and Thursday, partially sunny both days with a cooling trend. The high tomorrow 65, the high Thursday 57. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. What a treat we get to talk to this guy today. We missed him yesterday, but we'll get right up to the Texas Toyota hotline. He's with PGA Tour Radio, PGA Tour Live, CBS Sports headquarters. Normally joins on Monday, but I think he was traveling back from exotic vacation. The one, the only Doug Bell. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Hey, Barry. Hey, Coach. It wasn't exotic. I was working hard in Bermuda, guys. I was slaving over the microphone there.
Yeah.
Just quickly tell us about the guy who won, and then as soon as you get through doing that, then I'll tell us the new changes they're making in the PGA Tour that everybody's complaining about, some are not. Those two questions need to be answered for us.
Yeah, sure. Well, Rafa Campos, 36-year-old Puerto Rican and a journeyman. He went to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, and then has just been on every tour you can possibly imagine, and had a miserable 2024 year, 36 years old. It was interesting, guys. Last Monday, he and his wife celebrate the birth of their baby in Puerto Rico. The tour told him he didn't have to play in the Pro-Am, so he flies to Bermuda on the only flight on Thursday morning, makes it, plays Thursday afternoon, plays pretty good on Friday. And then on Saturday, shoots his best round of his career, a 9 under 62, bogey-free. And, guys, I interviewed him afterwards, and he's emotional because he's played like he's never played before. And he says, listen, I have no status next year at all. We'll just have to see what happens on Sunday. If I don't make it, as he breaks down crying, he says, I know I have a baby and a wife back home who love me. And I was like, wow, this is raw stuff, right? He goes out on Sunday, and darn if he doesn't win and plays great, and now his life has completely changed. And by the way, when I interviewed him afterwards, he was still emotional. And what a great story, guys. He says he goes to church on Saturday night, finds a church in Bermuda, and he said God answered every single prayer that he had on Saturday night. I mean, this is amazing stuff. And now a guy who had nowhere to play next year, nowhere. He wasn't even on the Korn Ferry Tour. He was like 194th in points. Only the top 125, get their status next year. He now has a 2-year exemption. He's playing in Maui. He's playing in the Masters for the first time. Gets to pick his schedule. Really an amazing story, and that's what I love about it. Especially as I get older, I get more. These young guys. I realize that they're out there just all by themselves trying to make it, and he made it. So that was a great story. As for your second question, Coach, yeah, the PGA Tour is whittling down fields starting in 2025 next year. In many cases, no longer will there be 156-player fields. There'll be 144. And then instead of 144 players, they'll get down to 120. They're trying to they had too many tournaments this year that they didn't finish the rounds because of darkness. Maybe
what's the one below 120?
Well, I don't know the specific events, but many of these,
I'm talking about 144, 120. What's the next number?
Well, the next number is the signature events, where you have to be in the top 70. And you don't automatically qualify for those, right, unless you're one of the top players. So, and they reduced Monday qualifying. It will no longer there won't be as many spots for Monday qualifiers. Before there were 6, and now there's going to be 2. The sponsors will have more exempt spots. They can pick and choose who they want to play. So the young golfer, the journeyman golfer, these guys are trying to make it, like Rafa Campos before he won. They will have less opportunities to play now on the PGA Tour. It will be more difficult. And so if you don't have, let's just say you finished outside the top, you're in the 125 to 150 category. And so starting next January, usually you always got in the Sony Open in Hawaii, but that'll be a smaller field now. And so a lot of guys who started their season there won't get in. Nick Dunlap won the American Express last year in Palm Springs. That was a huge tournament. That'll be less now. So a lot of these young players will not have the opportunity to play. Maybe this year, they got in 12 tournaments. Next year, that may be reduced to 4 or 5. So the bottom line is it is going to be tougher now than it's ever been to qualify and play on the PGA Tour on a full-time basis, unless you maintain your status inside the top 125, and then of course only the top 70 ultimately make the playoffs.
Last week, you had told us you thought Donald Trump would help this merger. I know he's got more on his plate right now than live in the PGA Tour, but you still think that's the direction it's headed?
Yeah. In fact, last week down at Mar-a-Lago and Trump National Golf Course down there, which, by the way, they're not next to each other, but they're pretty close. President Trump, President-elect Trump, I guess you can call him president, but he was playing with the main guy from Live Golf last week, and which people said, oh my goodness, it seems to me like this is, and I think what we're seeing is he does have a lot on his plate. There's no question about it as he takes office in January. But one of those things on the plate, guys, it probably ranks low in the totem pole, but he is going to solve the PGA Tour Live issue, because he is going to have a Department of Justice and obviously a new DOJ director who will look favorably on the merger between the Live and the PGA Tour guys. So that is going to expedite the process. There's no question. Listen, politics plays a role in everything now, even in professional golf. And I think what we're going to see is perhaps the PGA Tour now will return to playing maybe at a Trump property in the future as well. But when he bought Doral before he ran for president the first time, PGA Tour, it's a long time stop at Doral, the Blue Monster. And then when he was running for president, they took it away, the PGA Tour. But now I think ultimately, and Liv plays on Trump properties in New Jersey as well as down in South Florida. So it all goes hand in hand. It's all tied in. And Barry, to answer your question, yes, we're going to have. I mean, listen, the president was playing with the guy who runs Live Golf last week on his property down in South Florida. I mean, I don't think they were just having fun on the golf course. I think they were talking business.
Yeah. Hey, I like it. All right, let's switch to football. Doug, I can't believe you weren't on yesterday.
I was thinking about you.
Never in the history of Doug Bell picking games have you gone 3-0. But you did. So Boston, you said take Boston College plus the 17. There was 38-28. So if you add 17 to that, that's a W. So give me the applause there. You said take Georgia -9. I had people text me in the first quarter. I said, guys, just wait. Doug Bell took Georgia -9. It's going to work out. 9. Yes. And then you said I like these big numbers. You said take Virginia plus the 23 against Notre Dame. That score was 35-14. So if you had 23 and 14, another W.
Yes.
How does that feel, Doug? You never had this feeling. How does that feel?
Well, it's exhilarating, and And Saturday night in Bermuda, as I'm watching these scores, I was a little nervous about that Virginia Notre Dame game.
Well, the people in Vegas are sick. They're gonna change everything.
Yeah, well,
Words out.
Chase is playing Celebrate Good Times, celebration. So, all right, so that runs that record, Doug. Wow, 19, 15, and 2. So, so you're getting better. Where are we going this week, Doug?
19 wins and 15 losses.
Yeah, and 2 ties. 2 ties.
Great. Hey, 19, 15. He's got more wins than losses.
Yeah.
Coach, don't be so surprised.
He's been on fire here lately. Doug is on fire.
I don't believe you had that right.
No, he was 16, 15, and 2 heading into the weekend, and that sweep.
I believe that girlfriend of his called you to fix that.
Yeah, he's sweeping. Sweep.
That girlfriend did it.
All right, Doug. A lot of good games this week. Seems like you like the points now. Take those points. Where are we going this week?
Well, big noon kickoff, Indiana at Ohio State, which is the biggest game of the weekend, right? Ohio State. Barry, I got Ohio State by 13. Is that right?
13.5.
13.5. Okay. Ohio State leads the country, by the way, in winning margin. They're averaging 28 points, their winning margin this year. And did you realize Ohio State has the number 1 ranked defense in the country?
I did not.
Yeah. I mean, Indiana's had a great year. Don't get me wrong. 10-0, 7-0 in the league. It's unprecedented. They've never had a team like this in the history of Indiana Hoosiers football. Curt Cignetti, what a job. But if you really look at their schedule, the 2 toughest games they had, Michigan and Michigan State, they won those, but those aren't the Michigan and Michigan State teams that we've seen in the past. I think Ohio State at home comfortably wins this by more than 2 touchdowns. I think the defense, which is outstanding, will create turnovers. Indiana's never been in this position before, and I think Ohio State wins comfortably at home. And then, of course, that'll bring into question, how does Indiana finish the year, and do they belong in the 12-team playoff? But I like the Buckeyes, given the points.
All right, so take the Buckeyes and give up the 13.5 there, Chase. All right, where are you going on the next one?
All right, Ole Miss at Florida in Gainesville. Obviously, the Gators, nice win last week, first win in 5 years over LSU. DJ Lagway, their freshman quarterback, has the injured hamstring but played very well. And this is a different football team, obviously, when he's a quarterback. And an extra week of rehab, I think he's going to be even better. Ole Miss this year, by the way, 1-2 on the season when they throw for under 295 yards passing, which is interesting. And Florida, by the way, has given up 3 games. They've given up more than 295 yards passing. Their defense is pretty salty. And those were losses to Miami, Texas, and Georgia. I just think Florida at home, I don't think they're going to beat Ole Miss, but I think they're going to keep it close. And I think the kicker for Florida is really a talented kid, which I think is a weapon in a game like this. So I'm taking Florida and the 10 in the Swamp this Saturday.
Actually, Doug, you're going to get 10.5.
Yes, even better.
Yeah.
I like it when I come on and you give me more points.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that half. Give you that hook.
All right.
I
like that half.
There you go. All right, so he's taking Florida and then plus the 10.5. All right, that's 2 down. Go ahead.
All right. Now, another 3-0 week. Oh, boy, I'm looking forward to it. BYU loses to Kansas last week, and they still can win the Big 12. Just that loss, I mean, all their goals are still in front of them, but they're at Arizona State. And Barry, Coach, we've been talking about the Sun Devils, really one of the surprise teams in all of college football. Picked to finish last in the Big 12. Kenny Dillingham, 34 years old, was a young coach under Gus Malzahn at Auburn 4 years ago. And here he is, the head coach at his alma mater. And listen, they could win the Big 12. They could go to the playoffs. Now, that would be a story, right? Arizona State hasn't lost at home this year. They've covered every game at home this year. I think they cover again, and BYU suffers their second consecutive loss. I like Arizona State covering. I got 3.5, right, Barry?
Yeah, that's what it is, 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5. That's what I like. So there you go. And I'm feeling so good about these picks, guys. Listen, I'm not getting too cocky or anything. I'm just confident.
You're getting a little cocky. You're pretty
cocky.
But hey, you should be cocky. You're 3-0. It's a ride.
You're 19 and 15. Barry has got that wrong.
19, 15, and 2.
I mean, I can't tell if Coach is on my side or not on my side.
I'm on the honest side. I don't think that's
honest side. Okay.
He lost his blue plate. He took South Carolina, so he's just
I sure
salty.
did.
He's
I
just salty.
thought I was in good shape at half.
He's salty, Doug. He's salty. Doug, he's 7-6. I mean, he doesn't have a good record as you do, but
no.
he's got a winning record.
Hey, listen, as long as we're on the plus side, that's when all is said and done at the end of the season, as long as we're on the plus side, we're good.
Just think that you could have done a 3-team parlay last week, Doug, and racked up with your picks.
I know. And, it's amazing. Saturday night, I'm at a golf tournament and getting ready, and I'm worried about these darn games. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I mean, I kept saying, come on, Virginia, come on. Because it looked like Notre Dame was going to blow them out, and then things kind of settled down, and they came back. And, oh, by the way, BC with a backup quarterback, they cut that thing to 3 points with about 2 minutes to go. SMU scored late. So,
all right, who wins Colorado at Kansas this weekend?
Wow,
it's a big
that was
one.
one of those days. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Colorado, and of course now there's all this talk that LSU wants Coach Prime, right? Did you read that story yesterday?
No, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah,
you can forget that.
I thought that was fascinating. Yeah, but I think Colorado. Listen, Kansas, by the way, they lost 6 games earlier this season, and the margins of they lost like by 3, by 4, by 5, by 11. They were losing all these one possession games, and now they've won 2 in a row. So I think this is going to be a tough one for Colorado. But I think Colorado really, they're healthy, they have a lot of weapons, and I think Coach Prime, that's a heck of a story. Whoever ultimately wins the Big 12, it's going to be wild. I mean, we've already mentioned BYU, Arizona State, Colorado. That's pretty exciting football out in the Big 12. But I guess I'm going with Coach Prime in Colorado to keep things going.
Man, he where was that article about him and LSU? I didn't go read that. Where is that?
Yeah, well, there's I read yesterday where there's a faction of LSU boosters, et cetera, quote unquote, who are unhappy with Brian Kelly, and they would like to get Coach Prime before he goes somewhere else because if Colorado ends up winning the Big 12,
ain't going nowhere.
Potentially going to the playoffs, he will be a hot commodity. Now, Coach Prime has already said he's right. Coach, he's already said that he's happy at Colorado. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But
he's coming in there from the advertising, and he gets part of it.
He's happy, but until somebody else comes after him.
Well, and he's a big Nike guy too. See, so he has to go somewhere, a school that has a Nike contract. He could go somewhere like Auburn, for example. Not that they're looking to switch, but Auburn's at Under Armour, so.
But Auburn's going Nike. They're leaving Under Armour.
Well, then they could maybe get Coach Prime then.
I ain't do that.
No, but I thought that LSU story was interesting, and his name is. But he has already come out and said he's very happy at Colorado, although his son graduates, and Travis Hunter, the great two-way player who could potentially win the Heisman, he's gone too after this year, so he loses his 2 best playmakers.
Yeah, he's going to win the Heisman.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. Yeah, he's the favorite right now, and he plays. Good gracious, I mean, he's in about 115 plays a game.
Yeah,
it's pretty remarkable what he's doing this day and age.
Yeah. All right, Doug. Tell about MD Wellness and Aesthetics.
Yeah, absolutely. 205-582-9216 is the phone number for MD Wellness and Aesthetics. That's 650 Inverness Corners in Birmingham. You can go to the web, mdwellnessandaesthetics.com. Susan Bricknett is the owner. She will answer the phone, and her staff, really an amazing staff, some very, very nice ladies who take care of you. It's a free consultation, by the way. And as we embark on Thanksgiving and then ultimately Christmas, gift certificates are always big. So remember, it's skin care, hair care, weight loss. They do it all, the laser treatments, the Botox, the filler, all that stuff. But as Susan says, listen, if you get busy for the holidays, just come and get a gift certificate, and we'll be glad to take care of you in 2025 as we get closer to the new year. So, again, mdwellnessandaesthetics.com.
Doug, I'm proud of you. I'm just proud of you.
Well, I appreciate it, guys.
You've taken our beatings for however many years. And
it's been hard. You guys have been tough on me.
And I know you look at those because I go back and look at them on Saturday night late, too, to see if we're going to get to ridicule you or not. When I saw, and then Dad told me you weren't going to be on, I'm like, wow, I cannot believe he's not going to be.
Well, I was traveling, but I will say this. Listen, I used to watch Coach at practice way back, and he was tough on his guys. And you know what? It's okay. You can be tough on me because I'm better for it. I'm stronger for
You're
it.
thick-skinned. All right.
Yes,
all
exactly.
Right. Well, you'll probably go 0-3 this week, and everything will get back to normal. So, thank you, Doug.
You never know. Talk to you next week.
Thank you, Doug. All right, let's talk about Bryant Bank when we get to break.
Very quickly, Bryant Bank's an outstanding bank that not only it's a homegrown bank, and if you go in there, you probably know the person that runs the bank and the people are surrounding him, and you'll get great care. You can online bank. You can be sure that your money is safe. You can have your home account, or you may have your business account there, and they'll be taken care of. They'll do everything they possibly can to please you every month. I'm in the process now of trying to help me with some things I'm trying to do, and I appreciate them. And I promise you, if they weren't doing a good job for me, I'd tell you so. I'm telling you right now, they're doing terrific for me. So go by Bryant Bank and tell them you heard on Inside the Locker Room.
All right, the phone lines be open the rest of the show, 205-342-9904. You listen to Tide 1230 a.m. and 100.9, the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Inclement weather is really causing a lot of delays in the area right now. We're looking at an accident on 2059 eastbound at Skyland Boulevard. That's on the right shoulder, and then 2059 westbound at Skyland. You also have an additional crash, which is blocking that left lane. Moving on Highway 69 southbound.
Only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house.
Free shipping to your home on purchases over $25. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoor store is located at 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham.
Alabama fans are all over the world, and we are too. Download the Tide 100.9 app right now in the App Store and Google Play, and take the Crimson Tide everywhere you go.
Welcome back to Inside Locker Room Thursday. That'll start doing a little study, and the Blue Plate Special will come brought to you by Chuck Norwood and the Remax of Gulf Shores. Buying or selling, contact the Norwood team for all your real estate needs down in the Orange Beach, Gulf Shores area. I've been serving that area for 33 years, so that counts for something, obviously. 251-948-1212. Or go to chucknorwood.com. All right, run down the SEC slate for the weekend. Probably one of the bigger games. Ole Miss at Florida. I think Billy Napier has done a pretty good job with a tough schedule
I'm
there.
scared of that game. He picked it, I think. I just can't make that my blue play because, Barry, I don't know.
Yeah, line's 10.5. But Billy Napier, I think he's kind of ready to ship that freshman quarterback's playing Ole Miss. A lot of pressure on them to go down. Florida could be loose in that game. I need Florida to win for various reasons. UMass travels to Georgia. Who cares? The line's 42. UTEP at Tennessee. Who cares? The line's 42. We should not be playing these games this time of year. Kentucky is at Texas. That Kentucky, Mark Stoops, was a hot commodity there. He's kind of died on the vine there, but he's got a big contract. So there's nothing they can do. Texas, 20.5-point favorite there. Your thoughts about that game?
Well, that might be a blue plate thing. They're playing at Texas, and Texas is good. Of course, every time you look at something like that, you say, well, Kentucky went in and beat Ole Miss. But I think you're right. I think Kentucky is not very good. So I think Texas wins by whatever they want to win by. As I go through these games trying to find one, that's one to consider, I think.
Yeah. The other game's Wofford, South Carolina. No line on that. Shane Beamer looking to pick up his 8th win. They're 7-3. Then they'll finish up with Clemson in the last game. Louisiana Tech is at Arkansas. Is Sam Pittman in any trouble there? I hear some people saying that. They're 5-5.
I think the closeness of the last game, the closeness of it against Texas, the ones they hate. Had it been a blowout, I think they would have changed. But I think the closeness of it saved his job.
All right. Missouri, they're at Mississippi State. That line's 8. Missouri -8.
Let's jump ahead for me just a minute because you keep up with them better than I do. I know it's a week early. I understand. Talk to our listeners about your thoughts about South Carolina and Clemson.
I think South Carolina's defense is really good. I was listening to their South Carolina-Missouri game on the way home from Mississippi for a game, and that quarterback for South Carolina, boy, he has really improved. He's just a freshman, too. He's played really, really well. So I think they got a shot up there. I'd be curious what the line is. I probably would think Clemson would probably be a 6-point favorite or so in that game. I don't know if they've come out with the times on these games yet. So I know Clemson probably hopes it's a night game with the environment there, but a huge game for
South Carolina's not going to get in, win or lose, but Clemson could get out if they lost.
I think Clemson's only way in is to win the ACC championship. That's the only route they can get there, and I don't know if they can even get to that. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline. Bring Cowboy in. Good morning, Cowboy.
How you doing?
Good.
Okay.
Look, I came up on a page of mine some highlights of your game over there in Canton. You look just like your dad getting off the bench there. Had that scowl on your face.
Yeah, I was born with it.
Y'all won. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you think Ole Miss can manage that game? It's good for them that they're playing at 11 a.m., don't you think?
Well, as far as environment, you think it'll be a little tamer there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes the home team on those 11 a.m. games plays like they're sleepwalking, early. You get them, when Ole Miss played Arkansas a couple weeks, that 11 a.m. game, you could tell the Arkansas players were like, ugh. You could look in their eyes right quick through the TV. They wasn't there, and Ole Miss hit them quick, and that thing was over with.
Yeah. You could be right. But maybe Ole Miss will be sleeping. But Ole Miss got a lot to play for, and we'll see. It's a pressure game for those guys. I think Florida could be loose and let it hang out there. They could qualify for a bowl with that win. If not, they're going to have to wait and beat Florida State in order to get it. But big game for both teams. I think it would be good for Florida to get in a bowl, and Ole Miss to keep their top 12 hopes alive. They got to go down there and win.
Yeah. Well, Coach and Barry, in the CM Classic game tomorrow night in Birmingham, do y'all know that Indiana coach, he's always had some tough physical kind of teams.
Illinois.
How do they stack up compared to Purdue?
Illinois, you mean? You said Indiana. I hadn't seen Illinois this year. I do know that coach used to be with Frank Martin at South Carolina. Hard nose. I'm sure they'll be very physical. They'll play a lot like Purdue, I would think. Dad, I don't know. Do you know anything about?
He was over.
Yeah.
He was over in East Texas at Stephen F. Austin, and then he got the Oklahoma job, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and Dad, you think your thoughts on Illinois? You know Brad Underwood.
I don't know. I know Brad, but I don't know. I think he'll be well coached, but I have no idea what kind of team they have. I hadn't had a chance to watch anybody.
Yeah, I remember he had some kind of big physical guys inside up there in Illinois.
Yeah.
He used to have when he got up there, I think getting going, he had Calipari's Hispanic coach Ortega up there with him that had been let go at South Florida. And
Well, he's real hard nosed, and normally your team takes on the personality of your coach. So I would think they're going to be hard nosed, Cowboy.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Y'all go into that game?
No. We'll watch it on TV. So.
Yeah.
Watch it on TV.
What channel is it on?
Oh, good question. I think. Let me look. I'll look here and I'll tell you here in just a second. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Be good.
All right.
Hey, Barry, do you ever hear from Porter Mosier? I don't either.
I haven't talked to him. Let's see here, Cowboy. That game is on SEC Network at 8:00 on Wednesday night. So there you go for that. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get back. We'll get Joe on. We'll wrap up the show. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Inclement weather is really causing a lot of delays in the area right now. We're looking at an accident on 2059 eastbound at Skyland Boulevard. That's on the right shoulder, and then 2059 westbound at Skyland. You also have an additional crash, which is blocking that left lane. Moving on Highway 69.
Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with widespread rain today, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the high 69. The sky clearing tonight, the low 55. Tomorrow and Thursday, partially sunny both days with a cooling trend. The high tomorrow 65, the high Thursday 57. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. I get right to the Yellowwood Hotline, get Joe in. Good morning, Joe.
Barry, did you see yesterday the buyout on your coach at LSU?
I did not. Tell me.
60.8. The same time next year, 51. The same time the year after, 39. Do you go on and eat the $9 million and get rid of it?
No.
Okay.
You got to pay out $22 million also, Joe. So it's not just that. You got to pay the players $22 million next year.
Over 2 losses, you gonna fire him?
I'm just asking, Wimp. I'm asking.
Okay. The answer to that question is no. You're not gonna fire him.
Well, I think A&M wish they'd have got rid of Jimbo a year earlier.
It don't matter about the think. They ain't getting rid of him at LSU.
Yeah. Well, $9 million's $9 million, and the guy ain't getting it done. If you saw the video on ESPN on the side, right there. Did you see it, Barry?
Because he funded the guy too much. Crap on him.
Yeah, because the player was yelling back at him.
Big deal. Lucille.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you think they're going to let him go, Joe?
Well, if he loses these next 2 games, it's a done deal. If he loses 1 or 2, it might be.
Now, I want you to call back in. If he loses these 2 next games, and admit you were incorrect.
If they don't get rid of him, I'm wrong. But, hey, I'm going to be able to say it real soon. Real soon. Either this year or next year, they're going to have to eat
All right.
it.
Okay, let's just say they did. Who are you going to hire?
Oh, Barry, that's the oldest line.
No, I'm not. I mean, say
Nick Saban. Barry, Nick Saban.
Who would you think that LSU would want to hire?
Nick Saban's going home.
They're going to get whoever they can get.
But who is that?
I don't know who they want. I don't know who they can. But that is the oldest.
That's right.
No, I'm just asking, like, who you're going to spend that many million to get rid of the guy? Who you think you're going to bring in there? I'm not saying he's doing a good job. I'm just curious who you're going to bring in.
Look, I'm just kidding and aggravating you because you said all 3 years he would do better than at least 10-2. and all 3 years he's failed. And I told you he would.
Yeah,
and that's where me and you are at on that, and we'll see where it goes.
One guy thought he was going to get in the Hall of Fame, and they screwed him with his wins.
Yeah, I don't know that he can handle the Southern kids, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
I agree with you there, Barry. I agree with you. And the thing about it is, they should have gave him a contract like Auburn gave Freeze. No buyout. And all he does is draw his monthly salary from now to the end of his contract.
That's what Hugh Freeze's buyout is?
It sure is.
Well, yeah, that's still a lot of money, Joe. You're getting your contract.
Yeah, but it's over. Look what a period of time it is, Barry.
Yeah.
It's over a period of time.
Yeah.
You don't have to come up with this big lump sum. It's crazy that these ADs have agreed to these contracts, but they're about all gone up now. Everybody but Kirby.
Yep. All right, we got to get Gary Harris shows
Hey,
next.
Congratulations on being 2-0. Is Dipsy Valley bona fide good 5-18?
They made 10 threes last night, so that was pretty good. So, all right, that's it for today's show. We got to get out of here and make way for the Gary Harris Show. Keep it locked in. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.